Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Four Towers Films.
And I am Doug218. Hello.
Hello, and how are you guys today? We are recapping MasterChef Legends Season 18, week number 10. We are a week behind, so bear that in mind. We've been on vacation, so we have not had the chance to watch last week's show yet, but we will get to it as soon as we can. So this is the previous week's show.
So this is the infamous Black Apron Elimination Challenge. And the only one from the previous episode that is safe is Joseph.
Right.
So
the Street Food Challenge.
With the legend Roy Choi. So the premise is for this elimination challenge, they have to cook for their own personal legend.
Right.
They said it could be one of us, your mother, your father, your grandfather, your husband, whatever.
Yeah.
But cook something that would represent them and what they gave you to get you on your food journey.
Right.
So we first hear from Lexi. She says her personal legend is her husband, because he's supporting her during this journey as she's making. So she is like, his favorite food is chicken wings.
Right. Because remember, she's the one who's always saying that they don't have a lot of money, and So she's going to make her meal is going to be chicken wings, sweet potato, cornbread, and collard greens. Abe says his legend is his folks. And the first meal that he cooked when he came back from London. Right. Remember, he's traveled around the world and stuff, so. Oh, and the first thing that first meal he ever cooked for his parents was shepherd's pie. Right. Now, I know from other shows that, like, this is a big thing for Gordon. That was one thing his mother always said was that he said his mother always cooked for him. So it was a big comfort food. So I'm curious to see what he had to say about it. Autumn says her legends are her roommates. Different. But so she's making a bulgogi-style marinated ribeye with garlic, broccoli, and sesame rice. Because they took a trip to South Korea, I believe, and it was to kind of honor that trip. Now, Alejandro, the perennial bottom three dude. Alejandro is making pan-seared venison with eggplant and confit veg. His legend is one of our judges, Gordon Ramsay. So Sue says her legend is her grandma. So she's making a coconut panna cotta for her. First, so they get told you got 60 minutes, your time starts now. Boom, everyone starts off. So Gordon is the first to wander out and talk with people. He talks with Michael and he asks Michael, hey, who's your legend? What are you cooking? He goes, my legend is my grandma Mary. And I'm making her chicken provolone. And he goes, it was the one dish that I used to love before I became vegan. So, and he goes, if I can make this for her and do really well with it, she'll be proud. Right. While this is going on, Arona's talking within. She says her legend is her family. And now I kind of raised my eyebrow with this as they did as well. She says what they used to do on Sundays is bring fried chicken around after church, right, to her grandmother. But she's like, I'm gonna upscale it a little bit. So she's making pickled buttermilk fried quail. Now, she wanted to upscale it by using quail instead of chicken. And Aron kind of does that, Kelsey also says, like we get a lot of like quick blurbs from everybody. Kelsey says her legends are her dad and her aunt, and she's going to make them for a calamata olive crusted lamb chop. So the cooking is going on fast and furious. Gordon jumps over to Alejandro. Alejandro tells him what he's doing. And Gordon asks him, who's your legend? He's like,
You.
Yeah.
He goes, are you being honest or are you just kissing my butt? You know?
Yeah.
And no, he's like, no, I'm honest. It's you. You know, like we have, you know, and they realized they had very similar upbringings. You know, once you got interested in food, you wanted to try everything. But edit yourself.
Yeah.
So Joe is now talking with Lexi, and she tells him what she's making, and it's like Joe's kind of looking kind of suspicious at it, like, you know, really, chicken wings, cornbread. And her feeling is that you know, this is my homage to him. It's, you know, it's the one thing that we could agree on to eat all the time. So
right.
Corin goes and talks with Anne, and she tells him the same thing. I'm making buttermilk encrusted fried quail.
Right.
The chefs, when they get back to talk to one another, they're like, nah, fried quail? No.
It's not something that does well fried.
Well, as you'll find out later through this, why they said it didn't. You don't do it how she did it. Joan and Roan are talking with Abe, and we learn Abe has a wine degree from the LCB.
Right.
He's not just.
I didn't know you could have a wine degree. I mean, you know, you've heard of. I can't even remember what it's called. When you deal with wine, like
the sommelier.
A sommelier, that's it. But thought there was an actual degree in wine. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
And kind of looked at him like, really? You have a wine degree? Okay.
No, I've never seen that in anything. But
and they question him about his shepherd pie. Normally shepherd pie has like wine in the roux that it's cooked down to make it a thick stock. Instead of him using wine, he's using beer.
Right.
And Joe's like, you best make sure that beer, you know, the beer is cooked down.
Mm-hmm.
So Aron talks with Lexi again. Joe, as Aron's talking with Lexi, Joe is talking with Sue. And she says her legend is her grandma and that she's making a panna cotta. And like, they're like, well, isn't that's kind of simple?
Well, even Joe saying, you know what it actually translates to is cooked cream. And really, like, and Joe even said, you know, do you really want to do something that simple in an elimination challenge?
So it's you know, you kind of feel for her, but she's managed to pull off some pretty spectacular food.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, and so when we get to the tasting, it's Kelsey that gets called up first. So she does a Kalamata olive encrusted lamb chop with celery root and chickpea puree, roasted carrots, and Swiss chard. Everyone thinks that the food is fantastic. It positive comments all around. So the next to follow after that is Anne with her fried quail.
Right.
And Joe had, I'll read what the entire meal was. It was fried quail with roast root puree, pickled radishes, green beans, and a ranch dressing. Joe had the best comment for it. You mummified this quail. Mummified it. And he's like, look, the batter is too thick.
Right.
You know, and you don't do it this way.
And they actually explained how to do it properly, especially with quail.
Like a light dredge, cap it, lightly fry it.
Yeah.
Not like it looked huge on the plate.
Yeah, and quail's really not a big bird.
No.
You know, I mean, it's rather dainty kind of thing. So it was mostly spreading batter on top of it. So, and of course, like they said, it doesn't always cook properly all the way through.
And because
when it's that thick. And then if you have to overcook it, well, now your bird or your quail's dried out.
And she had something crispy sitting in something wet.
Yeah.
And so it's like.
It's probably one of the first times she's really had a lot of negative.
Well, last week.
Like big negative.
Last week she had she didn't do well in the food truck challenge, and this week. But
they really didn't like this one. So.
Oh no. Alejandro did venison loin with potato fondant, garlic eggplant puree, and a Cabernet juniper berry demi-glace. Everyone, as soon as they split that loin, it was a beautiful cook. Now, I know my father's a hunter, and I know game meat is very tricky to cook.
Yep.
1 minute too long, and it's chewy and it's tough. It was a beautiful cook on it. The juniper berries worked well with the game meat, and Joe looked at him and went, "Hi, who are you?"
Yeah.
You know?
Because remember, he's been in the bottom a lot.
Consistently.
Yes, so.
And it's like, he smiled from ear to ear. Like, he got the most positive comments.
Right.
For his meal. They said it was restaurant quality. It was edited perfectly.
Right.
Everything worked that was supposed to be there. So Autumn is up next. She does a bulgogi ribeye with sesame rice, sauteed broccoli, and kimchi pickled daikon. Joe looks at her and goes, "This is professionally executed. You are going on strengths, and you're improving every time. Beautiful job." Now we get to Michael, and remember, we're looking at Grandma Mary's chicken provolone with sauteed spinach, prosciutto. It wasn't really negative comments. It was kind of that it's comfort food, but it's rich. Mm-hmm. It's really rich. And Aaron said it was like, it's hard to get past more than 2 bites.
Yeah. Because
it was so heavy. They said the seasoning was great, but it was just, it was rich. So now remember, Sue did the coconut panna cotta, and so she's up next.
And she had it in a coconut.
And half a coconut. So hers was a coconut and vanilla panna cotta with passion fruit coulis and a fortune cookie.
Right. Which she made.
Mm-hmm. Which was wild.
Yeah.
And it had
and she put a message in it.
And as Gordon snapped that fortune cookie open, and it said, "I love you, Granny."
Right.
And her granny is 100 years old.
Yeah.
She's not eating solid food. This is something she would have enjoyed. They all tasted it, and Gordon said, "What's your granny's name?" And her name was Tauntaun.
Right.
And Gordon's like, "I love Granny Tauntaun."
Yeah.
Yeah. So they absolutely loved this.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Lexi. We don't have a lot of money, but we make do kind of. Yeah. And so she does fried chicken wings with sweet potato, cornbread, and collard greens. They're not impressed. Not impressed. It's sweet on top of sweet and dry. Like even Gordon said, like, even if you did a drumette, like they
weren't impressed that there were wings.
There were wings. There was no dipping sauce either.
No, she didn't make sauce. Yeah.
And she thought, well, the cornbread and the sweet potatoes, everything's sweet, but they're like, well, you need something to offset that.
Offset the sweet.
Then we get to Abe. Abe with his shepherd pie with fennel slaw. Joe's first comment, He looks down the line at Gordon and says, "Listen, I may not know a lot about shepherd's pie, but is this right?" He goes, "This is shepherd's soup pie."
Yeah, it almost looked like stew or chowder. You know, it was very runny. It didn't look anything like a shepherd's pie.
And like Gordon said, you know, you don't ever put beer into a shepherd's pie. It's wine. It's cooked down. So the roux can thicken up. The potatoes are piped on.
Well, if you want to do it restaurant style, yeah.
Well, like I've seen other videos where even his mother will kind of pipe it on, and she's a home cook, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we made shepherd's pie before. We never piped it on. I mean, but we're not trying to make it look fancy either. So I mean, true. I guess if you're trying to be like them and you're in a restaurant or you're trying to impress chefs, then I guess you pipe it on. But you know.
And they said, you know, the only saving grace for this, excuse me, was the flavors. It was flavorful.
Oh yeah, they said it was good. The flavors were there. It was very goopy.
It was like muck.
Yeah. That's not how shepherd's pie.
Well, and even the camera zoomed in close. And just watching Joe take a forkful, and it was just like gloppy.
Yeah. Well, it hadn't solidified really. No.
And it had dropped. The pie had dropped, so it just didn't come together for him.
No.
So the bottom three after deliberation was Abe, Lexi, and Ann. And reluctantly, well, not, you know, I hate to say it, Lexi went home. Yeah. You know, she was very thankful for the opportunity. But really, it was, I think she had gone as far as she could go.
I mean, I don't know. I think she may have had more in her. I mean, like, her biggest, I think, issue has always been her confidence in this. So
that's true.
Even when she, like, even a week or two ago, she didn't think it was a good dish, but they actually liked it, and she had won that week. So I mean, I think her biggest obstacle has been her confidence in herself.
Is herself,
really.
Yeah.
So I mean, just this time, like I know she wanted to have her husband as the hero, or the
as her legend,
her idol.
Yeah.
But I guess she just picked the wrong dish. I guess I know that's what he loved, but she could have maybe elevated it or something.
Yeah,
at that point.
I agree.
That's basically just really what the problem was. It's sad to see her go, but she did well.
She did well. Yeah, I will give her that. She did well. So we've had our first Black Apron challenge.
Yep.
So we'll have to hit the video for this last episode and get it out to you guys as quickly as possible. What do you think? Do you think the dishes that?
Well, I thought they were good dishes. I guess, of course, we didn't taste it, and I guess with shepherd's pie, I don't know. I think that's a technical error, and we've seen people go home on a lot less with technical errors like that. I mean, it was a mess, really. I mean, the flavors were there, and that's probably what saved it. I guess I figured Lexi's was worse in that respect.
Well, Joe even said, "This is what I would expect if I were to come over to your house for dinner."
Well, I mean, that's kind of really the point, though. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you're asking them to do for their idol. Well, I guess you could have elevated or maybe picked a different dish kind of thing. But but the thing is, we have, look, even just a few while ago, I mean, somebody went home because they missed one dish.
One tay,
yeah. But it was delicious, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if they even like the flavor of the wings. That might have been an issue too. So
could very well have been.
You know, what do you think?
I think, like it really forced them to really have to up their game and really show what techniques they know. I think as we get more and more further into the competition as we are now, you're going to see who is lacking. Because like they always say, you can't, there's nowhere to hide now.
Well, yeah, you're actually, it is getting to that point where you're seeing who's lacking. And, I mean, the ones who, and they have been, the ones who are consistently near the top can keep still at the top. So
I hope, Alejandro builds from this success he had in this episode,
hopefully,
and remembers everything that they tried to drill into him from the
beginning. Like, we have seen other people who've been at the bottom at the beginning of the competition come and win it all. So who knows, right?
Yeah,
you might.
But it was a good episode. I always kind of get a giggle out of the whole Black Apron challenges, and
Well, what's interesting is it's taken to episode 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to say they haven't had elimination, because they have done, but it's mostly been at the bottom of the mystery box challenges.
Yeah.
So they actually, unlike other times where with the mystery box challenge, then you get the elimination challenge. They haven't been doing that this year, so. No. Which is interesting. They've done a little differently with Legends. So this is really the first time they've done a complete separate elimination challenge apart from the initial mystery box type challenge. So that was interesting. It's taken to about halfway through the show.
Exactly. So
they're doing something a little differently this year. So.
I'm curious to see what the next episode has to bring.
Yep.
So once we get that watched and
we will come back and share it with you guys. Well, thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me again.
Hey, glad to be here.
And we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live, usually every Sunday, for MasterChef Legends Season 18.
And so not to worry, guys, we're going to be back to a more regular schedule.
Yeah.
Because we're closing in on the end of our vacation.
That sucks. So you may be doing the same thing.
And we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to the folks in the States, in Louisiana.
In Louisiana, right now they're being hit by a pretty big hurricane, Hurricane Ida. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you are in that area or you have people in that area, we are thinking of you and sending prayers, and hope everybody will stay safe. We know we've been seeing it on the news and following a lot of storm chasers on YouTube and stuff, and it's pretty bad. So, we just hope everybody comes out of this okay. So,
you're in our prayers, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
And I'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.